to pee or not to pee? That is the question.
This is how it is. 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 Today on Pop Culture Minefield.
Hey, Claudius. You killed my father. Big mistake.
Something is rotten in the state of Denmark. And Hamlet is taking out the trash.
Stay thy hand, fair prince.
Who said I'm fair?
No one's going to tell this sweet prince good night.
To be or not to be? Not to be.
That shit's great.
It is.
I want to see that movie.
I mean, we all wanted that. After that
Yeah.
movie came out, we were all like, please, Arnie, make that movie. Because the closest thing to an action filled version of Hamlet you're ever going to get is this one. Because the one thing Franco Zeffirelli liked in his films was to have a lot of action in them.
Well, it's something you can't do with opera, because opera singers are very limited because they have to sing and not just talk.
It's funny you bring that up because Franco Zeffirelli came up in opera.
I know.
And
That's
I mean,
where I know him from.
the first thing he did, he directed a television movie, Don Giovanni. And then
Yeah.
like he did La Boheme, stage production, directing on stage.
He did
let's
stage
see.
productions in Vienna. That's how I know
Yeah.
him.
Oh, yes,
Holy
he
shit,
did.
Fat Steven.
Yes.
It's not the
Thank
first
you.
time because he would do a La Boheme again for a TV movie on stage with, I do believe that was with Pavarotti. He did
Yeah,
Don
I think
Carlo.
so.
He was very Italian focused because he is Italian. He did Pagliacci. Again, another TV film production of Don Giovanni. He did in 2000.
I think he did Rigoletto as well.
Okay, guys, I know you're so entertained, but we have to address this.
Yeah.
Thank
I
you,
know.
Fat Steven. For gifting 20 Pop Culture Minefield memberships.
Holy shit,
Dude.
Steven, why aren't you
Yes.
here? I miss you so fucking much.
Yeah.
Martin misses you too. Anima can't stand you, but that's okay.
Shut the fuck
You-
up. I just stayed up
As
with
the
him.
song says, 2 out of 3 ain't bad. No, Anima loves you. She thinks you're great. Thanks, buddy. God,
Oh,
I swear to God, we miss you so much on this channel. But let's see, who all is here?
we have Penny, who is on.
Regis is here.
Yeah.
That's Emmanuel's sexier half.
Is it Regis though when he's French? It's Regis.
Regis. I know how to pronounce it. I said it just before you did. Regis. So anyway.
No, you said it after me because you have a delay.
No, I said it before you because I didn't hear you. That counts. Hello, Emmanuel.
Yeah.
Hey, and I didn't mind it before anybody else. So
there you go. So who else
Joe.
is here? I saw Penny is here. Gambit 1987 is here. I think Gambit or Penny was first. Penny was first.
Yep.
And then Joe is here in the chat, not on the show for some reason.
Because he's working.
Who's Anima?
Fuck you, Stephen. We've done shows together. Not very many, but fuck you.
Oh, so yes, you do pronounce the last S.
Regis then.
Regis. Yeah. I do it without the rolling of the tongue because I'm a guy. And men that roll their tongues are usually really gay, not me.
No,
I'm
you're an American.
I'm pretend gay.
Make it sound correctly.
It's like, why do Americans mispronounce everything? Because we don't care enough to pronounce it correctly.
Well, you're the butt of that joke, you know. I told you at the reception at the hostel where I was working, we had a list of
we've earned our place on the globe, baby.
Places that Americans ask you about and what they really mean. Because Croatian cities are neat to pronounce and Americans don't even try. And we needed that list.
Is Stacey Kirk here? I don't see him in the
No, he appears on the chat because he's one of the recipients of the member.
Oh, got you.
Membership.
Oh, okay. Again, thanks again for that, Stephen. That's really sweet of you, buddy. I know he's gone through some emotional, financial strains up there in the communist land of Canada, and I'm always worried about him. He goes through so much. We love you, buddy. We do.
Well, Gary, you're crackling.
You're crackling.
Now that Stephen is Trudeau-less, I think he will do better.
Trudeau-less, yeah. We'll give him a video.
Do we have him? Oh, that's right.
20 fucking memberships.
All good. Damn it.
Yeah, you do it because I don't know.
I don't know. I don't have any. I used to just for him, but we got claimed on it, so I stopped playing it.
Oh. Well, I think we'll go with Futurama.
What's the matter? You scared? Noticeably? I'll say. Now stand back. I gotta practice my stabbing. No, please, help!
Did it play?
Yeah, it did.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, because I didn't see it.
Oh my God, we're all on shitty.
Hey, War Monkey says, thanks for the gift, you rat bastard. So going back, I want to go back because Franco Zeffirelli is a massive part of my childhood, especially as a director. You know, he did the Romeo and Juliet that I have loved my whole life. You know, and I'm looking through like his production of Romeo and Juliet and Taming of the Shrew are two of my favorite Shakespeare films. And he did in 1967, he did Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton in The Taming of the Shrew. And it's a great production. And again, it brought a lot of the physicality and the comedy forward. And I love that. He understood the comedy. And then, of course, with Romeo and Juliet, there was a large focus on the sensuality of the film. And that's another thing that it's been commented on his filmmaking, is how much he focuses on the physicality and the sensuality of Shakespeare, rather than focusing on the perfect iambic pentameter. You know, he focuses more on the storytelling and making things, in my opinion, makes them far more reachable to the audience. But he's done some great stuff beyond that too. I'm going to point out that he did the single greatest Jesus movie / miniseries, Jesus of Nazareth. It was incredible, and it is still considered the best depiction of the Gospels. He also directed a film that didn't do too well back in '79, but I love the film with John Voight and Rick Schroeder called The Champ. It was a remake of a film with Wallace Beery and I just forgot his name. Oh my God, we talked about this before, Anima, and I forgot the name again of the young kid that was in that movie. But anyway, he did a terrible romantic story. It was, I mean, I'm sure a lot of women loved it, but it's got a terrible ranking. Endless Love, 4.9 rating. That's bad.
Yeah.
Then he directed the film La Traviata, and that was in '82.
Again,
Then he did the TV movie Pagliacci, which I think is, you know, it's one of my favorite operas, if I can even say that. You know, if there was an opera that I really enjoyed, it was that one. And there is an operetta, and I think he directed a version of it, was Madame Butterfly.
That's an opera and a serious one.
It's incredible story. I went to see it on stage when I was in the 4th grade, and I was blown away at how good it was. He also did the film Othello. He did a film called Young Toscanini, and then he did Hamlet. Now, Hamlet has mixed reviews, but I will tell you that it's damn near a 7 on IMDb because audiences really reacted to this movie. They just loved the production. And of course, who did he get to play Hamlet? The guy that was just voted sexiest man in the world is Mel Gibson. But he also sets it against an amazing cast of real Shakespearean actors. And I think it was really good. The only other person that's not technically a Shakespearean actor was the person who plays his mother, who's actually in real life not very, like only a handful of years older than Mel Gibson. And you know who that is, right? Everybody knows that. Yeah. Do I need to say it? Because I'll do it if I need to say it. It's Glenn Close. Yeah, I didn't believe you. I felt like you were lying. I felt like you were lying. You didn't really know.
We just watched the diary thing together.
Nobody knows that. Anyway, one of the best actors out of England, and it was a sad damn day when we lost him, was Paul Scofield. He was in Man for All Season with, I just forgot his name, to play Quentin Jaws. What a great movie that is. Paul Scofield is an incredible actor. And he, of course, plays the ghost of Hamlet's father. Then you've got Alan Bates, who is both a stage and film star. Got his big break in the 60s. He plays Claudius in this. Then you've got another Shakespearean great. Most people know him from Alien, because he played Ash the android, is Ian Holm. And you have a few really good actors that I know. I don't know if you guys will know him. Stephen Delane is Horatio, very good stage and film actor. Nathaniel Parker, he played Laertes, very good. And of course, the lovely and very young-looking Helena Bonham Carter, who, because of this film, I realized, because we were watching a behind-the-scenes video, that she said something, and I went, she's from London. Because I spotted how she enunciated and that she broke some of her vowels and consonants short. And I'm like, only somebody from London or the East End of London does that. How you doing, Nan?
She was 18, 19 when she made this, and she looks so young. She looks like
she was 20 when the film came out, 19 when they shot it.
Yeah.
The only thing of merit that she had done before this is another great fucking movie, Window with a View. It's a great British drama. I think Julian Sands is in that one, isn't he, Martin?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
I think he is in that film. I don't feel like looking it up because it makes me even more choppy.
Okay, let me check.
Cocaine? Did you say cocaine?
He said okay.
No.
Oh, you said okay.
Give him a break.
I just got excited. I'm sorry. You also have some other great actors in this. Now, most people don't know who this guy is. His name is Christopher Fairbank. But if you've ever seen the 1989 Batman, you should know who he is, because he's the one that asked Michael Keaton, "Who are you?"
Yep. And
That's who that is.
and he
And
was
then,
in
of course,
the,
what?
sorry, he was in The Fifth Element. He's the director of the Nuclear Lab.
Yes. I fucking love that guy as an actor. We lost him a year ago. Pete Postlethwaite, we lost a couple of years back, or was it last year? He was a great fucking actor. He made 2 movies while he knew he was dying. One of them was
Is Window with a View or A Room with a View?
Room with a View.
Room with a View. Okay.
Pete Postlethwaite is so fucking good. And he is, God, I'm trying to remember something that anybody will remember him for. So many great fucking movies this guy was in. And I'm just trying to think of some of the commercial films he's been in. But The Town, he plays the Irish mobster that Ben Affleck works for.
Oh.
That owns the flower shop. That's Pete Postlethwaite. He was dying of cancer when he made that movie and knew he was dying. Michael Maloney plays Rosencrantz. An unknown actor I've never seen before. Sean Murray plays Guildenstern. And Richard Warwick is another actor in this. And he is in so many fucking movies from the 60s all the way up into the 2000s when he passed away. So let me get back up with the chat here. What have I missed?
Okay.
Oh, D-Bud Martin is here. To backdoor, not to backdoor? That is the question.
Yes.
Hey, D-Bud, did you watch last night's show with Toxic Tuesday? Did you enjoy that? Because, yeah, I went off the rails last night. It was fucking funny. I broke Nick twice.
I have this for D-Bud then.
Cowboy, check around and see if there's a back door.
Oh my God, double surprise, Lost for Words, welcome back, and with a £5 super chat.
This is my first series dip into Shakespeare on film with a stellar cast, the later 96 adaptation from Kenneth Branagh. It's, in my opinion, it's overly lavish. I felt like he didn't want to repeat what Zeffirelli did. So he changed the time period to the 17th or 18th century. I'm sorry, 18th century. And I felt like it had an impact. It just didn't look right. It felt right. It didn't look right.
It's not the Middle Ages anymore. When it originally is supposed to be like the 15th century, 14th.
No, it's supposed to be the 1300s.
Well, Zeffirelli puts it 15, but yeah, it's not Middle Ages anymore when you go 1800s.
Yeah, it didn't feel right.
Yeah.
But it is, I would refer to it as the most complete cinematic version of Hamlet we've ever gotten. But I like the fact that Zeffirelli, who co-wrote the script and co-wrote it with Christopher DeVore, who really has a very limited career. That guy only worked on The Elephant Man, Francis, about the movie about Frances Farmer, who had the frontal lobotomy. She was the first actor to be frontal lobotomized. And Hamlet. And past that, he didn't work on anything else as a writer, at least not in film or television. But I thought he did a fantastic job for really a young writer, working directly with Zeffirelli. Zeffirelli's involvement with the writing really was focusing on the tonality of the film, where he really wanted to basically get into the thing that he loved to do was the sensuality, and the luscious look and feel of that period. And you get a lot of that in this, but he also loves the action of Shakespeare. And he really does enhance that in this film because especially with the final duel is really something to watch. I do have a problem with the sword fighting, and just one problem. It's a problem I have with so often cinematic sword fighting where they're fighting each other's sword, not each other.
Yeah.
And there's a couple of moments like that in this film that bugged the shit out of me.
It's very staged.
But they did, no stuntman did all of his own stunts in this. Gibson did a fantastic job. They trained for weeks on that fight. Oh, wait, go back to the first one. Let me read that again. Then another version of Othello was released with Lawrence Fishburne. I I was kind of okay with it, not great with it. Next one that he says, and of course Hamlet 96. How I can forget that one as well, and it is good. It's what I did like about it. When I went to see that, I was at University of Illinois, and we went to see it downtown at the theater in Champaign, Illinois, and it was so freaking awesome to watch a film that had an intermission. I hadn't enjoyed that since I was a kid. Because you actually get to go, they do an intermission, get the fuck up, go stretch your legs, get something to drink, piss, drain the main vein, do what you got to do. And I did enjoy that. And I'm not, as much as I criticize the period of time that he chose, I still love that fucking movie. And what a cast. But this one has an amazing cast. Again, I just cannot. And some critics didn't like it, but Roger Ebert was one of the most mainstream critics who actually really liked this. He almost gave it 4 stars with 3.5 stars. And he really liked it because this kind of movie makes Shakespeare accessible to even people who've never seen Shakespeare before, where they totally focus on the iambic pentameter, which is draining. Because I've done that. I was in a traditional Shakespearean troupe.
I don't even know what that is that you keep mentioning, Gary.
Iambic pentameter?
Yeah, that's 2 words I've never heard before.
Okay, it just the timing in which Shakespeare is to be read when it's his plays. And it's often in some of his sonnets as well.
Yeah,
but what's that?
Pentameter suggests something like in the measure of 5.
In the measure of 5.
Yeah. That's the only
it
thing
is saying I am. You say I am 5 times, and that's the timing it's in.
Oh.
I know you expect with that word, iamdemic, it's going to be some fancy meaning. No, it just means saying I am.
Oh!
5 times.
By the way, before I run the slideshow, let me run 2 videos that we are in depth. One for one for David Martin and his bridge, if I can find it. Yes.
Si ça t'ennuie pas, on fera la revanche un jour. Il y a une sortie de secours?
And
hey.
One.
I didn't know we kept that one. Awesome.
Another one for Lost Fair Word.
French backboard.
I think, oh, this is, I love this.
Oh, dude, if he was a wee bit closer, I could lob a caber at him, Ken.
I love that scene.
I love that one.
I enjoy that movie. I'm not a big fan of modern Disney, but I fucking love Brave.
Hey, knowing he did both of the roles, that's just awesome.
I want to thank Lost for Words for your £5. That is awesome. Deeply appreciated, mate. Cheers on you. And I am a big fan of Kenneth Branagh. His Henry V is my favorite version.
My God, that was breathtaking.
I also like his Frankenstein.
Yep, I love that one. The way,
in fact, we need to do that when we do the Universal Monsters, which we're doing that this year, guys. We're going to be doing all the Universal Monster films, the main ones. We're going to do, of course, Dracula. We're going to probably do Phantom of the Opera as well. Frankenstein for sure with Boris Karloff. Bride of Frankenstein, because technically that's one story, the 2 films. And we will do The Wolfman and The Mummy. And then Creature from the Black Lagoon.
I'm not watching The Mummy.
The original? It's black and white, for Christ's sakes.
No. I don't want to.
You are watching that with me, damn it.
No.
That movie's not scary at all.
At all. Okay, let me emphasize the second word. All. So.
Fuck, now he's going to schedule it at a time when I'm living with him and I have no choice because he's just going to hold me and force me to watch it. I'm doomed.
Yeah, I'll sit you on my lap and then wrap my arms around you like a
Yeah,
massive
exactly.
human
Manhandle the
seatbelt.
shit out of me. Like
You ain't go nowhere.
You're going to need the eye-opening device from
I'm
A Clockwork Orange.
So before we go too far, I still want to go back to Franco Zeffirelli because he did a really good version in 1996 of Jane Eyre. I did enjoy that movie. Let's see, and he did Zeffirelli's Inferno in 17. It was the last thing he did. And the film, it's a film adaptation of Dante's Inferno.
Question
that has never been realized before. Depicts the entry of the great poet into the dark forest, the meeting of what's his name, Virgilio, and his access to the Inferno. And I've never seen it, and I've always wanted to watch it. So it's one of those things I'm going to eventually get around to. He also did a little film called Tea with Mussolini. And
problem.
What are you having problems with?
With the slideshow. It
Okay.
froze.
It was too cold?
Oh no! It's now StreamYard. It's telling me your device is having trouble sharing your video. Not shared, Sherlock. Try sharing again. Okay.
So one of the other things he did that I've always wanted to see, and I've never found a copy of it, is his 1986 cinematic opera, Otello, based off of Verdi's opera. And it's one of the. It's got Placido Domingo.
Get it right.
It's Placido Domingo.
Placido,
yeah.
I'm pronouncing it the way I learned to pronounce it. So
I know the guy. And
You're
he
wrong.
would not be amused with you, Gary.
No. Do you want to hear a fun fact? Anima, who's a German speaking, pronounce it better than I'm a Spanish speaker.
Oh, because you say Placido, yeah.
Yeah.
He's never going to do that. No, but I met the guy, I worked with him, and I'm not going to butcher his name.
And you're the one who says Ridley Scott. So you can shut up.
Is this
Is this what?
The slides? Oh yeah, they are moving. Okay.
Yeah.
Are they? Because I don't see any movement.
I even made him laugh, Domingo. Because they were rehearsing Walküre and he needed the sword, Notung, and it wasn't there on the rehearsal stage. So I went down to the real stage, to the prop room to get it. And when I gave it to him, I did it down on one of my knees because I was playing a page at the same time in Salzburg at the summer festival. So I just figured I'd be his page, and he liked that.
My mother won't watch The Mummy's Hand because it scared her when she was a kid. And it's still not scary. This is like 1930s, 1940s stuff there. It's like about as G-rated.
It's not on you to judge what scares people.
An interesting trivia, Zeffirelli announced production of the film in April of '89 at a press conference in Los Angeles. And Mel Gibson was at the same press conference where it was announced that he would play Hamlet. That's neat. There's Renee.
This is not moving again, so I'm going to have to use...
I must reboot. Tim is here.
Hi, Tim. Put the link in the private chat, Martin. I'm going to download it. Maybe I have more luck.
Here's your video, Tim.
Some pictures of civilian casualties.
Fuck you, Tim.
Okay, let's play it like that. Oh.
It means Sunday.
Yep.
So
And by the way, Ennio Morricone did the soundtrack.
Yeah, and it's so weird to know that he's involved with the music, and then you hear Middle Ages music all the time. Well, not all the time, but most of the time.
It's a beautiful soundtrack. It really is.
It is. It is, yeah.
It's, again, here's this word I love, luscious. The soundtrack is luscious.
You love that word, yeah.
Filming was set to begin in 23rd of April, 1990, with an 11-week shooting schedule. That's okay. I'm dealing with a huge typo of my own. I released my album, and one of the songs has an E at the end where it doesn't belong. I was really shocked in watching the making of documentary that we watched, Mel Gibson's diary.
He did a video diary, yeah.
That part of the wall of that castle that you only see from far away was just fabric with bricks, stonework painted onto it.
So well done, though.
I couldn't tell. I was like, holy shit, that wasn't even real.
Anima, I put the link in the private chat. I try to do it because this is.
Yep.
It looks foggy on this window.
Oh, I love that you use that word. A lot of people don't know what that means. It means fucking ugly.
Everybody who listens to our show knows that.
Yeah, thank you for circumventing the auto censoring so YouTube doesn't smack us.
So there you have Glenn Close, who's I think she's in 5 years difference of Mel Gibson playing his mother. So the way she interpreted that was to be that when she wed the king, she was like 15, which is something that they saw as normal back then. I mean, women were often married at 13. The minute that they had their first period, they were eligible to be married. Biologically mature was all that mattered at one point, and thank God things have changed. Now, the one thing that gets me in this scene is when she looks up at the king. She is sobbing, and then suddenly she looks up at the uncle, and there's like a lust in her eye that I did not like.
Nope.
But you're not supposed to like it.
Yeah.
This is what bothers Mel Gibson's character of Hamlet. He delivers that line. He's, at your age, and it's like, wait a minute, motherfucker. That narrow-minded bitch.
All right, I can take over if you tell me where we are at, or you go there.
Okay. Let me first remove this one. Be gone.
And he was so unsure about the beard. He was not happy.
Fungus is what he called it.
Yeah, facial fungus. Yeah. I love that he had his parents there, and he would show them around the set.
Here, okay, I think we can go from
We'll start with that look, yeah. And the crucifix back there, cross, is similar. Shut up. Is very similar in design to the one that's at the altar in Dracula's castle in Bram Stoker's Dracula, with the sun at the center.
Sometimes, my dear, you are the heathen. It's a crucifix when there's a body on it.
Ian Hall. You feel
What a
bad.
great fucking actor. I love that guy so much.
Which one is he again? Oh, the uncle.
He's Polonius. And by the way, do you know what scene it was that won Franco Zeffirelli over for having to cast Mel Gibson.
No.
It was the threat of self-deletion scene from Lethal Weapon.
Oh, yeah. He absolutely wanted Gibson. And I think Gibson wasn't sure if he was up to the task because it's fucking Shakespeare.
Which of many? Because I think he does like
It's the
like
first
that, like
one.
3 times. Oh,
It's
in
the
the
first
trailer. Okay. When he's in his trailer.
No, it's when he's in the carpet shop, I think it is, with Danny Glover.
Oh, that's the second
after
one.
After jumping off the roof. No, it's the first fucking movie.
Oh no, I mean the second time he does
No,
that
it's his
in
rant.
that movie.
It's the rant. The fucking crazy wild eyes and everything. Don't tempt me. I'll do it. I even carry a special bullet for it. It's a hollow point. That way it'll blow out the back of my skull. Get the job done. So that's the scene that won Franco Zeffirelli over. And I know that because like people call him Australian in the making of, and it's like, no, he's American. He is American. He has an Australian accent that he has now officially gotten rid of. It's gone. But at this point, he still had a bit of it lingering. But his father was American. His father was American. His father was American. His father was American, and he was born here. He was born a naturalized American citizen. Absolutely, War Monkey. It does exist. We're not faking this.
I did it with AI.
I did it with AI. Every frame. Yeah. So it's a film worth watching because I think that it's what they did is they chipped away some of the insignificant story that doesn't really deal with the heart of the story, which is, the pirates, the pirate scene, the whole subterfuge of a war building against Denmark. Because the final scene is of them encroaching the castle, and poor Laertes has to tell them what happened. And even the king that led this war has a great line in. I can't remember what it is, but it is a good line. He's not younger than Harrison Ford. He's 12 years older than Harrison. I know what you meant, though.
Yeah, only 12 years, but man, I think
he looks so much older.
Sean lived a lot more than Harrison.
And in many ways, even though this is the tragedy of Hamlet, this is actually a tragedy for every major character in it.
Yep. 2 families got destroyed.
Yep. Every member of the family dead. Both families.
Hamlet's family and Ophelia's family.
Yes.
Both
Polonius' children and Polonius are killed. Polonius and his son are killed by Hamlet, while Ophelia dies because of Hamlet, or her feelings for Hamlet. And because she basically slipped into madness.
Yeah, the death of Polonius threw her into madness.
Well, that and
neither
Hamlet
a borrower
rejecting
nor
her.
a lender be.
What? Anima?
That and Hamlet rejecting her, pretending he never loved her. That's the final straw.
Well, playing back and forth with her.
Yeah.
And I thought it was interesting that there's a line in there showing you that in Shakespeare time, women wore makeup. Is that you're born with one face and then you make another, referring to wearing makeup. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, well, makeup goes way back. The Egyptians used it.
But most of the time when you see movies like this, you don't see women noticeably wearing it. But the one thing they do is they would put rouge on their cheeks.
And the lips.
In fact, they would do things like pinching their fucking cheeks to make them more rosy red.
Oh, that was such a Victorian thing to do.
And Hamlet is more obviously listening, and in this film, I just love the way you see him constantly spying and listening in. But more so, he becomes so paranoid that he begins yelling things out as he's exiting a room to make sure they hear what he's saying.
And he even play madman when he's alone.
Yeah. And this is a great scene because Horatio's who I was thinking. Laertes is the is Polonius' other son, or is his son. I did enjoy this in the 1996 Hamlet by Branagh. It was really well done, and Jack Lemmon, getting to see Jack Lemmon was great. He was one of the guards, if you didn't know that. In this one, it's very well done. And they're convincing him there's a ghost, and he is in doubt. There's a little bit of, the Christmas Carol in this story, or I should say, Christmas Carol borrowed a bit from Hamlet, including some of the king's dialogue. There's a couple of lines by the king that is echoed later in A Christmas Carol by Jacob Marley. I love Alan Bates. One of my favorite films with Alan Bates, and it's an Irish film called oh my God, what is it? Not A Kiss Before Dying. Prayer for the Dying. Mickey Rourke does an actual fairly good Irish accent. And of course, it's an early film with Liam Neeson and Alison Doody from Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. He plays, she and Liam play members of the IRA that are after a character. I love that his room is set up almost like a lab, because there's lab equipment in there from the period. Yeah, his haircut starts out very Mo Howard looking, but it becomes more natural as the film goes on. Absolutely. Anima, they want to know if Kitty is moving.
Of course she is. She moved to Croatia with me. She's been with me for 13 years. I got her when she was 5 weeks old. Her and her brother, who isn't here anymore, unfortunately. She's definitely moving in. Gary's dying to get to know her. Or so he says.
I would remove the word dying and just looking forward.
She'll probably kill you by sleeping on your face. No, she won't.
I love the lighting here. This is actually on a soundstage, this scene. So they're able to capture that moonlight, that artificial moonlight. It looked really good.
I love when they mention they went to Scotland to film expecting gloomy weather, but then it was summer and the sun was out all the time. So they had to shoot a lot of that.
Yeah, they were preparing
to
find a way to make it look gloomy. And then Scotland says, "Hey, fuck yeah, here comes the bad weather."
Yeah, and it delayed filming because they couldn't film in the downpour that they got for a bit.
Yeah,
Just as
Quartet's
they were
a
getting ready to block out the sun, it started raining.
Quartet's a forgotten film with Maggie Smith and Isabella Adjani. Yeah, Nijinsky. Yep, with Jeremy Irons. Yeah, I'm a big Alan Bates fan. I always have been. And this is where he sees the ghost for himself.
My apologies, Rocket Kitty.
And just to let you know, Icon Films or Productions got its start because of this movie, because Gibson was so into doing this movie with Zeffirelli that he helped raise the funds for it, and he had to create his production company, and this is where it got started.
Tim is trying to derail us so hard.
It's a good thing I only cursory look over there. Yeah, but let me tell you something. That's a fake cute that she does. It's
All right, hold on.
It's like, go fuck off with that. A simple cat meow is adorable to me.
All right. Here's for all the kitty fans. This is Rocket Kitty right here. Ladies and gentlemen, Amelia the Rocket Kitty.
And all of Anima's unfolded clothes in the background.
No, that's just part of my laundry.
I know I'm teasing. I'm making up shit.
At least, well, no, that's about it.
Kitty talk about the movie. They're doing a better job than Gary.
Oh, you should hear when she goes off in the background and Gary's meowing back, forgetting that I'm wearing a headset, so she can't hear him.
You know, it is such an amazing moment, you know, that he got to do this scene with Schofield. And he even talked about it. Because Schofield is old school Shakespeare. He'd worked with the likes of Laurence Olivier. And now he describes how he was murdered.
That must have intimidated him. Gibson, I mean.
Oh, working with someone like him, he was terrified.
I mean, Gibson was already big, like really big at that time, but
he was also voted sexiest man in the world at this point.
Oh yeah, and
now, but he never let it go to his head. He made fun of it.
Mm-hmm.
Don't you find odd that the venom has to be administered, or the poison, by the ear?
That was so weird when you showed
What?
it in the play.
A lot of people don't know that the eustachian tube connects the ear to your throat.
Yeah, but
there's the membrane, the tympanus.
There's a membrane that should stop anything from getting in there.
Yeah,
unless it's ruptured.
You would think,
it shouldn't
but
be.
the fact is, that's not correct. Yeah, they shot for typical shoots, Gambit, are 10 weeks. That is your standard shooting period. 11 weeks is actually a week longer than what is standard. So they got this done in a really good time. And they shot out of order. And they still got it done on time. The edit, as I recall in my reading, they were editing as they were going. So they had a proper work print to turn in. And very few edits were made for that. And what people don't know, back in those days, every single cut is numbered, has a specific film number and everything. And you send that into the print to have the print made of it, the negative, and they follow your numbers. And then that's how the film is put into the final cut, is the original edit with the negative, with all the numbers, given to the film printing company, and then they print it.
It's not unusual, though, to shoot out of order, because there's usually two reasons to shoot in order. One is kids, to make it easier for them to believe the story that they're playing. And the other one is what we've seen with many war movies that we discuss on Military Monday, when they need the actors to get thinner because they are in a POW camp or something. That's when they shoot in order, or in order reversed, because they start thin and then gain back the weight.
Gain the weight, yep.
Yeah. If you don't have any reason to do that, you would shoot in a logical way to take not too much time to shoot the movie.
Rest in peace, Paul Scofield too, and Alan Bates. So many of the elderly aspect of this cast are all gone. One of my favorite Lee Remick films was the film she did with Glenn Ford back in, I think, '62, and Experiment in Terror. That was one of my favorite thrillers from when I was a kid, where a psychotic kidnaps the youngest daughter of Lee Remick, and Glenn Ford's the cop investigating it. Really good fucking movie.
One of my favorite thrillers from when I was a kid. There's nothing wrong with that sentence at all. Should kids really watch thrillers? I don't know.
Look, man, I'm a cinephile because I began watching films at a very young age, serious films. Here again, we see the spying going on. There's a lot of spying in this. People listening into conversations. Polonius
They didn't have
too.
TV back then. They needed some form of entertainment. I mean, I think gossip was a big part of entertainment in environments like this. Castle.
Do you mean the film Telephone, Tom, or did you mean Telephone? Because I know the film Telephone with Charles Bronson.
Charles
Good
Bronson.
film.
Yeah, I love that movie.
Ditto. Lee Remick's in that one, as I recall. Isn't she?
She was-
No. Who was in that? Let me go look it up.
Gambit, she was 20. Oh,
Oh
Tim.
my God, Tim.
Yeah, she was 20 when she made this. And in the video diary, where you see her without the costume, she looks like 14. And then you see Mel Gibson practicing to throw her around for that one scene where he goes off on her. Like, oh my God. All the time asking her, is that okay? I don't want to hurt you. And yeah, they must have had fun practicing that. And she's one of my favorite actors. She can really sing, by the way, because she sings in this. And go watch Sweeney Todd. She can
Oh,
sing. She has a voice, man.
that movie is a favorite in my household.
Well, I know it from stage because
okay.
the opera house my mom played in, they did musicals. So I've seen it so many times on stage. And then I came across that movie and I was like, holy shit, that's good. Oh, there you go, Gary.
What? I'm working on a graphic right now to share.
Tim says
Tim
we
says-
decided to replace Gary with Rocket Kitty.
Penny's cats are going to like that.
If they care, I don't know. Amelia doesn't care when she hears cats in the stuff that I'm watching or listening to. What she does react to is when I watch videos of Loki and she hears his voice.
Oh.
Yeah, it breaks my heart.
I love the sets in this. All right, pause for just a second so I can bring this up. Thank you. There it is. They'll do anything to stop telephone. The most explosive picture of the year, Bronson and Lee Remick. With Donald Pleasance and Patrick McGee. Not
What's it
McNee.
about?
Sleeper cells.
Yeah.
In the United States that are hypnotically trained. So when they receive a phone call and certain words are said to them, it launches them into action.
Did you see the Naked Gun anima?
Nope, not
Okay.
interested.
They spoof that concept too
Okay.
in that movie.
I always felt this was one of the movies from the category too silly. I don't do silly funny. And yet, I watch stuff like Animal House and Strange Brew for this show. The things you do for the channel.
By the way, there's a moment later in the film after Polonius is killed. I love the fishmonger dialogue here, by the way. It's funny. That's Shakespeare's writing. Very clever. Showing how he outthinks these old timers. Leaving them befuddled with what he just said.
Yeah, you really like that word too.
What, befuddled?
Yeah.
Goddamn right. I've left so many people befuddled with things I've said. My God, jump back,
I don't
kiss
doubt
myself.
that. Tim, you know what my payment is in all this. I get Gary as a husband. So much for hazard pay. What?
No, I was testing something because I turned off NVIDIA, and now the movement's more fluid. So it's my NVIDIA card that's having trouble. My video card. I love, look at those water spouts on the left. Faces of horror. Technically, this movie set is perfect for a gothic horror film.
Yeah. That would absolutely work.
Those are the spouts I'm talking about. And she's a broken character. She's, because they're already on the outs when the movie starts. And she's just trying to figure where everything went wrong.
Well, everybody's using her. She's being
and that's the other
pushed
problem.
in directions all the time. That has to break her. And her acting is amazing, especially the scene where she goes mad and goes to the village down to the river. That's awesome. I mean,
With
those
the nuns
skills in a
chasing her.
20-year-old. Wow.
Well, you need to see her in The Room with a View, because it's a really good film.
We watched that. If I
No, we
remember
did not.
correctly. No?
No. You and I watched the other film with some of the cast, which was called Remains of the Day.
Okay. I thought we watched that one. Okay. I stand corrected.
This is where it starts to get ugly with her, because he knows she's lying to him and that she's letting the others use her, and it pisses him off.
Well, it's easy to manipulate someone so young.
I say he's yelling this for everyone to hear. The rest shall keep as they are. There is no marriage. She's like, what happened? What just happened?
Well, one moment she had a future, and now she doesn't.
I think the end of Ophelia is the night of the play. And he tells her to get thee to a nunnery. Now, of course, this is the famous soliloquy. And he did a really fucking good job with this. And he had specifically a Shakespearean dialect coach to help make sure he was saying things exactly the way they're supposed to be said.
Yeah, it seemed in the video diary you see him work with the coach, and it seems like it wasn't too easy for him, the Shakespearean English.
Yeah, well, she kept telling him
But
how
it made me in
he
this
was having
scene-
trouble enunciating because he
Yeah.
speaks American English with a mix of Australian English. So it's a bit butchered and they don't enunciate. And he had to learn to enunciate for this film.
Yeah. I was amazed by the scene because there were a couple of really long shots in there with no cuts in between. So that was a lot of text that he had to perform. And it's just so good. Tim is not too kind with you, Gary.
Oh, I don't mind. He knows that shit doesn't bother me. Hamlet triggers Ophelia to go mad is very precise. Mel Gibson speaks the Shakespearean language with Atlantic twang mixed with his Australian. He's trying not to show his Australian accent. And it took him a while to finally get rid of it. By the end of the 90s, his accent was gone. We got his mother in the deal, in the separation.
Yeah. So that means
By
you
the
haven't
way-
been around in a while, because that was
Yeah,
a year and a
Cronin.
half back. That was ages ago that we
This is the Western chase scene where they get on horses and they start shooting at each other. Oh, he liked my joke. We got his mom in the separation.
It's true. We
I
have
love
Danny.
Danny. I love him. I miss him, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Why then your ambition makes it one it is too narrow for your mind? He is on to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern from the minute they arrive, because he overemphasizes their friendship on purpose to the point of being facetious. My greatest of bestest friends, my dearest of oldest friends. He always overemphasizes their friendship because he knows that it's no mistake that they just show up. We love Danny. That's how I put it. And I wish him the best in everything, all the time. I know the good king and queen has sent for you. See? It's like I don't know. I'm not stupid. And then they want to him and haw and kind of deny it. But then he forces him, threatening him. He's got that fucking poker there with a chunk of meat or something on it.
Yeah.
Cooking. a skewer. Absolutely, by the end of the 90s, because I hadn't noticed it, because I didn't see many interviews with him in the mid 90s. But I remember towards 90, between 97 and 99, in an interview, it was gone. He was just talking to somebody, just talking. But there was no accent. What a piece of work is man.
Is that the scene with the
No,
grave digger, right?
No, that's later. This is the scene
Oh.
where he's talking about a man is noble in reason and faculty. Just this is a great scene. Oh, he's just his hands where they're at right there. That's how full of or tired of their shit he is. And of course, here come the players, and that's Pete Postlethwaite right there. He's the head of the players in this one. Pete Postlethwaite. Yeah, gorgeous locations. And the actor who plays the queen in the stage production in this movie is the guy who asked Batman, "Who are you?" Shepperton Studios, that's right. Great set design. With the way that they play him in this one, you don't feel any sympathy for either of these characters. They're spies. In fact, they're prepared to betray Hamlet at every level.
Oh yeah. They have no loyalty.
I love that his rage here isn't heard by anybody.
Yeah. That's another scene where he just keeps going and going and there's no cut. It's amazing what he does in this movie. I knew it was a great movie before I watched it. I had no idea how good he was in it.
And that was one of the things that a lot of the critics had problems with. Mel Gibson, Hamlet. And they didn't even want to fucking bother giving him a chance. So a lot of critics shit on it. I was really happy when I saw Roger Ebert was fair and gave them a almost perfect score for the film, because it's really that fucking good. And some critics refer to it as the worst Hamlet ever made. And it's like, no, it's not. It is not.
Absolutely not.
I'm not a fan of Olivier's Hamlet, but I am a fan of, which is funny because they were talking about it in this. The parents, Mel Gibson's parents, were talking about it, and they brought up that they loved Derek Jacobi's Hamlet that was made for the BBC. It was done as a miniseries, but it was a movie. It was one single stage production shown over 2 nights. And it had a huge impact on me as a kid when I watched it. I think it was 16 when it came out, 15 or 16.
I love when they ask his mom if there's anything she didn't like that he made, and she says no, she likes everything that he did. Some of the movies didn't quite take off, and then you hear him in the background. I did some shit movies.
Yeah, I did. I made some terrible movies.
She's just being polite, saying some of them didn't take off as much as the others.
Yeah, the film it got its money's back because they did not even market it that well when it came out. It was shot on a 12.6 million pound budget, and but its box office earnings was over 22.3 million. So they did fairly well.
Good. I'm glad.
Yeah, by the way, Gibson has a
Agree
great
with me.
statement that he made that he grew up idolizing some of his co-stars, especially legendary Shakespearean actor Paul Scofield. And he compared the experience of performing Shakespeare alongside Paul Scofield as to being like being thrown into the ring with Mike Tyson. No, it's not, but I get that I love the imagery of that.
Yeah, that
Nelson
made me
Entertainment,
giggle,
which held the
that
North
part.
American distribution rights, licensed theatrical exhibition to Warner Brothers as part of the incentive to lure Gibson into making Lethal Weapon 3. Very smart move. I got to tell you, big fan of the first film, enjoyed the second film, but Lethal Weapon 3 was my favorite. Of the original trilogy, that was it. I'm not a big fan of Lethal Weapon 4. I felt like Chris Rock was completely miscast in that film. Wrong actor.
My
So
favorite,
what?
my favorite is still the first one, then 2, and I
Lethal
stopped there.
Weapon?
Yeah, and I stopped there.
I liked Lethal Weapon 3. I borrowed something from it, from the soundtrack. God judges his heroes by their scars.
I'm not saying that I don't like them, but I don't need to see them.
I do. I love that world. I don't want to picture a world where there isn't Raj and Riggs. I want them to ride off into the sunset. I love this where he's really watching his reaction to the scene.
Mm.
It touches us not. It's constant commentary. Look at fucking Rosencrantz over there. Fucking dick looking expression. Fuck that guy. I hope Hamlet figures out a way to kill him later. Yeah, when he shows the pouring of the venom into his ear,
Mm.
and you see Claudius stand up and he gets lightheaded and then he laughs like to play it off, and then he leaves in dramatic fashion. And the first thing that Hamlet does is turns to his best friend. Did you see? Because everybody is shocked when this happens. Yeah, I was in college. I remember going to see that in downtown Sacramento. Gary Busey was great in that first movie. He was a character that I hoped would survive and come back to haunt him another day with another boss. What was his name? Gary Busey's character, Mr. Isaiah? Was that it? Mr. Isaac? Mr.
I don't remember. Let me check.
Because his boss always referred to him as Mr. Look at that. Look at that set. And we got to watch
Joshua.
Joshua, that was it, Mr. Joshua. We got to watch them tear this set apart. It was crazy to see that.
Man, that part when they are torturing Mel or Riggs, and Joshua says to him, "I don't believe you. I want to, but I can't afford it."
We've done Lethal Weapon or no?
No, we haven't.
Oh, we're gonna have to do all 3 in a row on a Saturday.
What? 3 movies
I'll
in
talk
one
to
day?
Tom. I'll talk to Tom to see if he wants to do any of them. Boy, oh boy, did we not have fun together when we did Gremlins, didn't we? Gremlins 2 the other day.
Oh yeah.
I think that was the most fun that all of us had doing a show was on Gremlins 2 Day. And we'd already talked about it twice before. It was like, oh, got it. Not to mention having done Gremlins. But people don't know how much Tom and I love that fucking movie. Gremlins 2 is our favorite. This is every iteration of this I enjoy, but this one in particular, because he is like ready and he's having these monologues with himself. And he's like, this is my moment to strike. But oh no, to strike him while he is praying and asking forgiveness, into which he would go straight to heaven. And he doesn't want that. Everything. This is the scene that if he had struck when he had the opportunity, none of the other bad shit would have happened. Ophelia would live. Polonius would have lived. Laertes would have lived. His mother would have lived.
He would have lived.
He would have lived. He probably would have gone to prison for it for a certain amount of time. But as the heir to the throne,
I don't think so. I think
they may not have done it.
The queen who would have found a way
to cover up the murder. But I'm telling you, if he had done it, because right now is the scene where he commits his first murder, and he kills the wrong person.
Yeah, but he's sure that the person behind the curtain is the king.
For some stupid reason, even though he just left the king at prayer. Look at her face. She is absolutely terrified in this scene. She did such a fantastic job of acting.
He's drawing a fucking sword on his own mother because she's terrified.
Yeah, the guy that has successfully...
She asked him, "Are you going to murder me?" It's like,
he has successfully convinced everybody that he is in fact crazy. And
her scream when Hamlet stabs Polonius behind the curtain, her scream makes your blood chill. And he is terrified.
Yeah, Chris Fairbank has really severe pox scars on his face, either from acne or he got chicken pox really bad as a kid. That's what I've always suspected happened to Seal, is that he got really bad, severe acne or had chicken pox as a kid. And let me wring your heart. What a great line. And again, he refers to the incestuous sheets. And this is where he gets on top of her and he criticized her for wanting romance and lust at her age. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. She's still young. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but she's his mother and he's disgusted with her having sex, period. And then in the same bed that she was sleeping in with his father and now his uncle. And that's just so gross to him.
Oh, and he also humps her here
yeah.
in a mocking way. He's trying to drive home what he thinks of Uncle Dearest.
Who he now has to call father. That's so fucked up.
But to live in the rank sweat. honeying and making love over the nasty sty. These words like daggers enter in my ears. No more sweet Hamlet. She's begging him, please stop. You're terrifying me. You're breaking me. And then he looks over her shoulder and sees the ghost of his father. And he falls to the floor ashamed.
And that terrifies her.
She looks over there at the door and it's closed. It's not open.
She
it's closed
can't
when she
see
looks
the
up.
ghost. So that terrifies her even more when he starts acting like that.
But we know he's not insane.
No.
And that's why it was important that earlier scene that the others had seen the ghost. So we know he's there.
Mm-hmm. He just doesn't want to be seen by her, I guess.
And he's reminding her, you do this for her salvation.
Yeah.
Not her condemnation.
Makes him feel
And he failed miserably.
Yeah.
And then he's in such a state. Polonius is hiding behind that fucking tapestry. And he hears him, and for some reason thinks that it is his uncle, father, as he likes to refer to him as.
Uncle.
Whereas Claudius refers to him as cousin.
Yeah, I don't
That's a
get
common
that.
term in Shakespearean English, meaning family.
Oh.
Not sibling, but family. And like in Romeo and Juliet, the line is forsooth, dear cuz. And poor Polonius is fucking dead. Done in by his need to constantly spy.
Well, curiosity and the cat.
Yeah.
I love it when the king asks where Polonius is. He's at dinner. He says, dinner. He says, well, where he is being eaten by worms, not him eating.
I like that. That was funny. And he's also very casual about Polonius being dead.
I'm friends with Gary Busey's son, Jake Busey. And I've tried to get him to come on the show because I have a close connection with him because he's worked with Dale Dye twice, and of course, and he's a student of Dale Dye. I refer to them as students of Dale Dye. The men who are trained by him in films have changed careers because of Dale Dye, and they'll admit it, that their careers took a whole different direction because of what they learned from working with Dale Dye. But I would love to talk with Gary Busey. I fucking love the guy. And people want to come on and slag him, and I'll go, please don't do that on the show, because I never know if Jake Busey might watch this, because he has a very deep, meaningful, and close relationship with his father. He loves his dad. So the hunt for Polonius's body and Hamlet is on, and then he just is there. He's just there. They're like, oh, dear cousin, Hamlet, how go you? Now Hamlet. At supper? This is so fucking funny. It's so dark.
Supper. Yeah.
He's like, he's at supper. Oh, not his supper, but the worm supper. Politic worms. And he's wearing his fucking hoodie. I love that.
He is at a point where he gives zero fucks.
That's true. That is the one thing, if you can say about Hamlet, when it comes to the shit going on around him, he has zero fucks to give. All he cares about is his mother and his dead father being avenged.
Well, those are the scenes where he's on his own, his monologues, dealing with the shit, and then just deciding, okay, that's it, I've had it.
Oh, when he calls him his mother, as you, as the man and woman are one, so therefore I call you mother. And I'm like, God, the digs he throws in at these characters, and they don't know how. Fishmonger, oh my God, so many insults he delivers, and they don't know how to respond to them. And he's going to send him to England to have him killed. So he gives the letter sealed to Rosencrantz and Guildenstern, which is a movie we need to do one time because it's the one time you feel bad for Rosencrantz and Guildenstern in that movie.
Are dead with
Tim Roth and Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman, yes.
Oh,
And that movie is what made me a fan. And Richard Dreyfuss is in it too. He is the leader of the players. So they know that they're taking him to England, speeding him away to have him killed. And while on the ship, he has made fake letters, Hamlet has, and sealed them with the royal seal and replaced them. That orders upon reading this note to immediately put to death Rosencrantz and Guildenstern.
Brilliant.
She's insane. She is insane now. She is full on gone. She is bye-bye.
Yeah.
Ophelia isn't here anymore.
The scene is so creepy when she has the dried up sticks and the bones and thinks they're flowers and gives them to people.
Yes, chicken bones and the fucking sprigs of straw is what I think that is.
I can't help but saying it again. This 20-year-old is so full of talent. It's incredible how she pulls off crazy Ophelia.
Yeah, he's a cool dude, man. He really is. I've had the pleasure of becoming friends with several actors who have worked with Dale over the years. And of course, I made that joke about Tom Hanks when I was working on his film that he was producing, and it got back to him, the joke I made, which is I said, Tom Hanks can only play two roles. One is Forrest Gump, and the other is Tom Hanks. Because it's always Tom Hanks. Someone says, well, what about Philadelphia? I'm like, he's still playing a variation of does Tom Hanks. He's Tom Hanks with AIDS.
That movie made me cry.
Oh, Philadelphia? God damn. Yeah, that's a rough movie. And Peter Gabriel, of course, wrote a beautiful song for that one. Lovetown. Whew, what a song. Look how pale she is. Because before she had rosy cheeks and she had a fleshy tone. Now she is absolutely like almost ashen in color.
Well, the life is gone from her. She's broken. Also, she probably had a sleepless night.
Well, we've already done that one, but there are several Gary Busey films I would love to do. Like, okay, I'm going to tell you one of my favorite Gary Busey movies.
Ooh, I love Silver Bullet.
Hold on. DC Cab. That's it. That's all I got to say. My favorite fucking Gary Busey movie. He is so crazy in that film. Hilarious, but crazy. What I always feel bad with him is that he was anti-helmet, motorcycle helmet, big motorcycle advocate. And then he had that nasty accident with that city bus. Fucking damn near killed him, crushed his face. That's why his face is kind of out of whack now. It's been that way since the 90s. And after that accident, he became an advocate for helmets. Changed his fucking tune.
Yeah, I remember.
Because he said, if I'd had the helmet on, my injuries would have been far less.
Wear your fucking helmets.
Yes, DC Cab with Mr. T. I pity the fool. I love that fucking movie. The movie opens with Mike Tag. We used to play that when I was a paramedic. Not officially. I'm not saying that at any time on the clock as a paramedic for King County Ambulance I ever did something that would technically be criminal. But I'm saying that we could have played that game when we were paramedics. Most likely. Very much so true. Sort of.
Kind of.
Oh, dude, in the movie DC Cab, his energy is over the fucking top. That's the first time you ever see Gary Busey begin the crazy acting. And he's fucking good at it. When he jumps on top of the hood of the fucking cab and starts doing Elvis, Jesus Christ, I lost myself in that fucking movie.
Have we watched that?
No.
Ah.
It's a movie I've been holding back for a long time. I don't know if you'll like it. It's kind of zany, but I fucking love that movie. It has that Star Wars opening where you are like, it's like you're in space and there's a star field. And then the star field is broken up because it's a reflection of stars in a puddle. And then we move up and we see the undercarriage of, is that a galactic star cruiser? What is that? No, it's the undercarriage of a fucking old Chevy taxi cab. Great fucking movie. Great fucking movie. Good ladies.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Now, this is something that would not have been tolerated. Confronting the king would have been, drawing the sword on the king, he would have been killed by guards. I thought that was kind of weird that they allowed him to do that in the film.
Maybe because he's already mad and everybody's scared.
The guards wouldn't give a shit. And the one thing they don't really talk about in the story is how great a swordsman he is. We don't learn that until the third act. And it's like, they should have, that is something that's alluded to in the play and should have been alluded to in the film. And by the way, he's wearing the exact same thing he left in.
Poor guy, man. Getting home to find his father dead, his only sister crazy.
Insane. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, this is a wide-ranging tragedy.
I mean, how much time has passed since he left? How long was he gone? Do we know that?
Months, probably. And again, the Scandinavian folklore story is what inspired Hamlet. And we saw that in the movie, The Northman.
Yes.
Great film. Some people didn't like it. Andre and I agreed wholeheartedly on everything.
I can't remember watching that. You were so certain that we watched that back when I was still living in Croatia, and we watched the trailer the other day, and nothing sparks a memory.
And it's based off the legend of Amleth, is what I think the name was, right?
Yep.
Amleth?
Hamlet, yes.
Which translated over later to being called Ul Hamlet or Hamlet.
And then you have pieces of garbage like The Lion King.
Well, in a letter from Dickhead that executively produced that film, he accidentally referred to the character as Kimba in a letter. Giving away what really happened is that was not Hamlet. It was fucking Kimba. Kimba may have been influenced by Hamlet, but no.
Dude, that's absolutely
the Lion King is stolen straight from Kimba.
But it's Hamlet.
Yeah.
The brother, the killer brother usurper.
I know you don't want to overreach or push. No, I absolutely. I'll tell you one thing, Tom, and every single person will tell you, I am absolutely fearless in contacting people. I have no fear. What I'll do is after the shows, I'll go look to see how to get a hold of him. I could also probably message Jake and let him know, hey man, I would love to have your dad on for an interview. And maybe even talk about one particular.
Hello.
Okay, something happened there.
Oh,
yeah, I got disconnected.
Moment.
It's like the screen and I disappeared. And so I'm like, oh shit. So I've removed myself from camera. But I would love to talk to him about it. I really would. So I'll reach out to him. I'm a big Gary Busey fan. This is one of my favorite scenes in the film. Again, Shakespeare's comedy with dark subjects. The conversation between Hamlet and this gravedigger is hilarious.
Oh yeah. And what Hamlet doesn't know is the grave that he's digging is Ophelia.
Is for Ophelia. Yep.
Yeah. She's
Because he never gets an answer of who it's for.
Yeah.
Is it for a woman or a man? Nay.
That must be some kind of gravedigger thing that you don't talk about who you are digging the grave for. You're just doing it. It's nobody's business.
I don't think he even know that this guy is Hamlet.
No, he doesn't, and he doesn't care.
Oh, this guy has no clue. He doesn't.
No.
He's not in that world.
No, he's just doing his job, and it's not his business to give away the name or whoever it is for.
By the way, this is the best interpretation of the scene with Yorick, the skull of Yorick. Hamlet, his performance as Hamlet here, even when he touches it and then touches his lip and then realizes he just touched the skull and touched his mouth, and then has that my gorge raises line. I fucking love that. Touching a dead thing and then touching your own lips. Yeah.
And it's so much more intimate than when they do it on stage and he's just holding the skull in front of his face.
Yeah.
It's so intimate.
Infinite in jest. Yeah, and I don't know if you were here earlier. I think you were, Gambit. I said I'm not a big fan of that version. Not a fan. For me, the best Hamlets, there are three of them, is the 1980 BBC production with Sir Derek Jacobi as Hamlet, this film, and the 1996 film with Kenneth Branagh. Those are the only three Hamlets I think are worth their weight. And isn't it just like a funeral to break out into a fight? It's like the last place there should be a fight, but the biggest sign of white trash is a fucking fight at a fucking funeral.
The one with Jacobi was what year again?
1980. I think it was shot in 79 and released in 80.
Oh shit!
At least in the US, it was released. It was released on BBC. I mean, on the PBS, Masterpiece Theater.
I'm missing that one. I have the 48, 1996, 2000, 2009, 2018.
Look, Billy Crystal was great in that role. It really kind of surprised me when he's on screen. I'm like, oh shit, that's Billy Crystal. It's a very good film. My problem is I didn't like the time period they picked, but I do love the set, the Hall of Mirrors. That is fucking cool. It reminds me of the palace in Versailles.
Okay, in lieu that you are lost for words, we're gonna give you some of them.
You feel the same way? It's just no fair making us back for the hand of the coin. It doesn't win to nip it. Ken?
There you go.
The scouts are like, what the fuck did he just say?
And thank you for your gracious contribution.
Yeah, because in the original play, Hamlet ends up on the open seas with the pirates and then is eventually dropped off by the pirates. I got to tell you, when you see the movie, because you bring up Billy Crystal in this comment, it's funny. There's another Billy Crystal film that he's only in for a few minutes, and he's almost like the star of the fucking movie. Is what is the name of it? The fantasy film with Andre the Giant, Mandy Patinkin, Carrie Elways.
Princess Bride.
Yeah, Princess Bride. Because Carrie Elways' character is kind of Hamlet. Because just like Hamlet, he ends up being rescued and then held by the pirates, and then becomes a brigand himself, taking over the moniker of the Dread Pirate Robert.
Pirate Roberts.
Yeah. So I've always caught that little thing that when I watched it, I'm like going, oh, that reminds me of Hamlet. And a lot of people don't know that about Hamlet, but if you watch the 1996 version, you will learn it. It is in there. The BBC version kind of focuses more on the immediate story, like this film does. And in many ways, even though Laertes apologizes and is forgiven by Hamlet, he absolutely is plotting to murder him. He doesn't care if he wins. He plans on murdering him, even if he loses, because a single cut from his blade will kill him.
The thing that he wasn't counting on he was going to die too.
Yeah.
Right. Because he pisses him. Well, we'll get to that. Look at that set. This is a gorgeous set. Amazing craftsmanship in this set. Especially with the broken up lighting. Because when you saw that previous scene of the lower room while they're up there talking, is the lights coming in from places that you can't see, but it's illuminating everything. And it's light coming in through all those windows in the castle. And they were designed to do that. And that's why they would use that lime like stone. It was always almost white to light gray. I love this. They can't see him in the room.
Yeah.
He is such an emo kid.
I'm always impressed with the camera work on old stuff, like Middle Ages stuff like that, when a lot of the scenes inside are just lit by candles.
Or
so
during daylight. Occasionally you'd have torches, but not very often, only for main chambers. And I got to be honest, have you ever tried to walk around with a candle in your hand? Yeah. You're just one step up from fucking blind.
You are talking to a person that has candlelight instead of electric and at the later hours of the day, because
hey, Sanders in the house.
Absolutely,
Hi,
Sander.
It is.
This is my preferred version. The only one I consider, I think it's actually better in some ways, but I still prefer this version, is the BBC production in 1980, 79, 80. It was made in 79. You came here in the US in 80. Yeah, and by the way, I double checked. She's only 9 years older than Mel Gibson. Glenn Close. And by the way, her English accent should sound familiar because the accent she does with her voice is the same voice you hear in Greystoke, The Legend of Tarzan, for Jane, because they dubbed Glenn Close as Jane in that film.
Andy couldn't make the accent.
It's so weird.
Just didn't like it. Yeah.
Yeah. That was the only reason. He didn't like it. I think it was wrong to dub her. But oh well.
And oddly, this bit of trivia too is that in the original 1948 black and white Hamlet with Olivier, the woman who plays his mother in that was only 11 years older than him. So it's really not uncommon, because I guess they're trying to say that the queens married young. So they're not much older than their own children.
They did marry young. I mean, the deals were made when the kids were just a couple of years old, like 5.
Yeah, the minute
4, 5.
that they have their first period, they are
No.
legally allowed to get married.
Royal families in Europe, they made agreements to marry their children when they were just a handful of years old.
No, I know that. What I'm saying is they were legally allowed to marry in many cultures the minute a girl went through menses.
Yeah.
Because then she had matured, which is typically around the age of 13. But in many cultures also, children were no longer considered children, boys too, at the age of 13. That's why in like Jewish tradition, you have the bat mitzvah and bar mitzvah, which means this is your transition from being a child to adult. Now, we're really getting close to the end of this story. And we now know that Laertes has schemed with the king to doubly attempt to poison Hamlet here. That
The drink
Claudius
and the sword.
would poison a drink, and that the tip of, or the edge of his sword, not the tip, the edge of his sword was envenomated with a toxin so deadly that there is no cure.
And it's
They
a
don't
very
tell you what it is.
superficial cut that he gives him. And it's
Yeah, he says that even a scratch would kill him.
Yeah.
Shakespeare sure liked to poison his characters.
No, he loved poison. He did. He used it as a dramatic device.
Yeah.
So this is the moment here where he holds the goblet up and puts a pearl in it that is completely coated with poison.
And he can't stop her from drinking from it. He tells her, no, it's for Hamlet. And she's like, I'm sorry, I'm still drinking.
Yeah, he yells her name, but doesn't even attempt to stop her. Because if he does, he gives away what he's doing.
No, he does. He says, don't drink it. It's for Hamlet. And she says, I don't care. I'm still going to drink. And takes a drink from it.
And then he doesn't stop her. I'm telling you, he makes a choice not to stop her.
Because he wants Hamlet dead. And he can't.
No, it's also because he doesn't want, if he makes a scene, they will know he poisoned the cup.
That
is why. Yeah. So he can't do it for that reason. He basically shows himself as a planned poisoner.
That's how much he loves her.
And Gibson does so good in this. He's so jovial, fucking around. And he leans up there and he says, would you say that is a touch?
He has nothing to lose.
But he's so funny in the way he does everything. He's like a jester. And he is very funny as a character. Well, it is minor.
At the same time, his sword fencing is so good.
Yeah, this is the big action scene for the film, and it is an action scene, but it is not a long fight scene. All they have to do is get 3 strikes, 3 hits, and on the 3rd hit, the fight is over. Laertes is so angry that he never got to cut him. He reaches and cuts him on the arm, killing him. He poisons Hamlet. But then Hamlet takes a sword and fucking stabs him in the gut with it, or heart.
No, in the gut. He doesn't die.
It's upper gut. It could have hit lower heart too, where he stabbed him. And it also could have hit one of the major blood vessels coming out of the heart, which would have killed him too. It's good fencing, but my problem in some of these shots, it's sword. They're fighting sword against sword rather than fighting each other. Their focus is on the sword strikes, not the trying to hit each other. And that's the one thing you want to see in a good sword fight, is to make it look like you're trying to hit the other person and that they parry it somehow. And I love how the Hitchcockian way he keeps looking at the tip of that sword because he knows the poison is there.
It's not
and this is when Hamlet. He stabs it directly in there, probably hitting his bloodstream immediately and going straight into his, bloodstream in his heart, killing him quickly because he dies fast, as does the poor queen.
Oh yeah.
Oh look, the queen swoons at seeing Hamlet's blood. And then she's like, no.
The cup.
The cup. And then
That's why
Hamlet
you didn't let her
knows.
drink.
And he delivers that great line about, again, something stinks in Denmark. I forget the line too. It's a great line he yells here.
Maybe we have it in the slideshow.
World can do thee good. Foul practice hath turned itself on me. Yeah, this is great where he begs for forgiveness. And my father's death is not on you. It is on him, the king. So now the queen has pointed at the cup and he has pointed at the king. And that's it for the king. And he laughs like, what are you talking about? He stabs him and then makes him drink. Save me, the king yells as he fucking gurgles to his fucking death here. He's already dead. You incestuous, murderous, damned Dane.
Yeah, I like that.
Everybody's like, the fuck is happening here?
I love the way he does this. He's a very physical actor, Mel Gibson, that his arm gives way on him there. That is so cool the way he did that. They're all dead. 2 families. It's very similar thematically to the end of Romeo and Juliet, where the children of 2 households are dead.
Now,
this is far worse because the entire bloodline is gone.
Yeah, and the question, what the heck happened with the government now?
Well, that's just it. Is there was a war going on that they left completely out of this version.
Yeah.
That if you watch the 1996 version, it's kept in, thank God, because it explains what's about to happen. That there was a siege going on while this fight was happening, and they were invading the castle. And they end up in this room right at his death. And they're like, what the fuck is going on in here? Everybody is dead. May a flight of angels sting thee to thy rest, or fly thee to thy rest. And I love that he refers to his friend as name being a wounded name. What a wounded name. Yeah, Captain Blood's sword fight is fucking incredible. But the single greatest sword fight in the history of film, and this is not just my opinion, many scholars agree that Basil Rathbone and Tyrone Power's sword fight in The Mask of Zorro is the greatest sword fight ever filmed. And it's still shocking how they pulled off some of the shit they did in that film. Because I showed you, he looks like you fucking stabbed him. Because he's fighting, and with the sword he's fighting with, he lunges and hits him in the breadbasket. And you see blood come out. And I'm like, how the fuck did they do that? Trickery. They did. If you've never seen that movie, no, The Mark of Zorro. Sorry, The Mark of Zorro, 1959 or no, 1952. Let me go look it up. I hate saying the wrong year.
I have not seen this.
I showed you that scene because I told you it's the greatest sword fight.
I'm trying to remember.
Looking it up right now. The Mark of Zorro, 1940, with Tyrone Power and Basil Rathbone. And it really is just, I love the movie poster. It's one of the greatest movie posters ever made from that period. And Tyrone absolutely learned to do a lot of the fighting, but there are 2 scenes that are not Tyrone Power. And one of them is, I do believe, the scene where the lunge is done. if that was a retract, or I mean, my God, that guy handled that thing like it was a real sword, and then lunges and stabs it, and killing Rathbone. Yeah, it's Marco Zorro, but yeah, Gambit. It's the same film.
I can't hear the name Tyrone and not thinking of your character.
Oh yeah, right.
Yo, my name is Tyrone. I loved it, that one episode where Keith and I were talking, both of us behind our avatars, mind the fake black guy, and somebody in the chat goes, "Why does Gary's black guy sound blacker than Keith's?"
That was when I was over with you, and we agreed to jump in to fuck with Keith, and you did the Tyrone. You were told that Keith wasn't here and disturbed eating breakfast. Oh, that was so much fun.
Yeah, my name is Tyrone Moncrief. I'm his third cousin of his roommate.
And Keith,
our last names being the same is just a coincidence. So, but that's it. I love this movie. Hamlet, 1990, is a great fucking movie. And if somebody tells you it's not, ignore them.
Yeah.
Most of the people I've found that didn't like this Hamlet were usually pretentious snots. Shakespearean people tend to be pretentious snots.
Yeah, or idiots who don't like Mel Gibson for whatever weird reason.
It's interesting because, as I recall, the sword instructor on that one, if you're saying if that's his name, he also worked in all the way up through films, all the way up into the Star Wars films.
Oh.
I think he even worked on Highlander. I'm not sure. But I know he worked on Star Wars. For the scene with Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader, he was the choreographer for that scene. How am I going to make an old guy fight a young guy? His Prowse was young.
And big and strong.
And big and scary as fuck. I liked that movie Nightmare Alley, but I was sort of sad at the way they ended it. They chickened out last minute. The newer version has the correct ending. That was by what's his name? The Spanish director that does horror.
Del Toro?
Yeah, Del Toro. Guillermo del Toro. Good. I liked the movie. I did. I liked the new film. See, Tyrone showed here, but the audiences wanted the matinee idol. Yeah, I know it had to have the happy ending, which is a bullshit ending for that story. That story is a messed up story. Well, one of the sword instructors, because I remember reading this. Let me go. I'll look it up real quick. People talk. Don't.
I'm tired.
Oh my
I'm
God.
trying very hard not to pull a Keith and fall asleep live on the show.
Martin, please talk. Say something like, "What are we doing tomorrow?"
I'm
something
in the middle of
what we're doing tomorrow. Just carry the fucking conversation for a second for me, please.
Yes.
Jesus Christ, let me be. For tomorrow, we still don't know what we are doing because it's a news show, so we have to wait for the freshest news. So we always wait until the last moment. On
He's
Friday,
doing the show though, right?
as far as I know, yes, we are.
Okay.
And for Friday, we're going to do Rio Bravo with John Wayne and Dean Martin.
Yes, I'm looking forward to that one. We just watched it yesterday.
I haven't seen it yet.
You're going to love it. If you don't like this movie, we can't be friends.
Well, would you consider it best than The Tourist?
It's been a while since I watched The Shootist.
Okay, I looked it up and I had the wrong film. Hold on. Present.
It's John Wayne. It's a western and it's fun. So you're going to love it. There's nothing wrong with this. There's nothing not to like.
This is who I'm referring to as Bob Anderson, and he worked on the newer films. His career started around 2000.
Olympic fencer, just like Guy Williams.
Here we go. All the way back into the 80s. His first career job was on Return of the Jedi. He stunt doubled for Darth Vader. Empire Strikes Back, stunt double again for Darth Vader. He was also the guy who did the sword training for those 2 Star Wars films. He worked on the Disney Three Musketeers film, which wasn't bad. It was just weird because everybody was American. And he worked on Doctor Who in 68. Holy crap. Let's see. Stunts. Let's go all the way back. He worked on The Master of Ballantrae. Guns of Navarone. Yeah. From Russia with Love. Casino Royale, a terrible movie in 67. Kidnapped with Michael Caine, a very good version of the film. One of Our Dinosaurs in this? I don't even know what the fuck that is. Of course, he worked with Alec Guinness and Dave Prowse, as well as doing stunt double work. He was a sword expert, and this is the gentleman here. We lost him a few years back, but that's him. Born in 1922, and he's the one who trained Highlander, and he said that his best student over his entire career was what's his name from the Highlander series, the TV series.
I don't know. I'm trying. No, it doesn't come to mind. Let me. Adrian Paul. And we have Hale and Place here. A little late,
but he went on to learn Bushido too, and he was trained in further techniques. And he is now a master himself, and teaches his own classes. He'll hold classes at conventions for people to attend. And by the way, hello to you too, Helen Place.
Hi, Helen Place.
So I'm going to go. You were going to say something?
I say better late than never.
Oh, better late than never.
Because we're almost done.
So, yeah, I want to say thanks to Penny, Gambit 1987, Emmanuel, Regis, Joe's Atmosphere, Fat Steven JFG. I'm going to call him Regis now. So fuck you. I'm just going to say Regis now. Correct me again. And I will absolutely mispronounce it in a way that will fucking annoy you even more.
It hurts my brain. I'm sorry.
That's too bad. War Monkey, Lost for Words, Tom Baker, Joe Cronin Show, Sandra Hammerschlag, and Hale in Place. We've held a steady audience over on Twitter. Thank you all for watching the show. Thank you for those that joined us in the chat and those that watched on YouTube and Rumble. We deeply appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed today's discussion about Hamlet 1990 with Mel Gibson, sexiest man alive, according to People magazine at the time. Yeah, John Saxon, man. I actually got to talk to Saxon, and I found him a really engaging, kind person. You know, the funniest part was I actually thought he was already, when he died, I was like, oh, that he was still alive? It's like, God damn, still building houses. The Black Rose and Prince of Foxes with Orson Welles. Fantastic. Good stuff, man. So everybody have a great day today. Remember, it's middle of the week, hump day. Got to hump somebody. It's a rule. I didn't write it.
And I was almost hoping you'd forget this time, but you never do.
No. No, not going to forget. So get your humping out there. Get going. Get going. God judges you on how well you hump. So everybody,
I seriously doubt that, but
in the military, humping means marching. So just so you know.
Okay.
And yeah, that's it. I've gave you guys a second to say something. Nothing. Yeah,
nope.
Nothing to offer. Nothing.
Nope. Nothing at all.
Nope.
It's a goddamn shame. I'm telling you. Anyway, thanks everybody for being here today. We're going to end the show. Everybody have a great rest of your week, and we'll see. Well, Martin will see you tomorrow with whatever they're going to be talking about, and then we'll see you Friday.
See you Friday.
Happy middle of the week. Yay!